Welcome to the NPC Energy Podcast.
Great to be here.
Today we're embarking on a simulated journey into the fascinating and maybe kind of unsettling world of lead-lined coffins.
It's a strange topic when you first hear it, isn't it? Lead coffins.
Totally. I mean, have you ever really stopped to consider why so many really significant historical figures end up in them?
Yeah, you see it across the board. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs, British royalty in Westminster Abbey, popes in the Vatican.
It keeps popping up through centuries, different cultures. It makes you wonder, right? Is it just about keeping things neat and tidy?
Well, the simple answer people give is preservation, obviously. Lead seals things up tight.
Right, slows down decomposition. But we've got these anonymous sources, and they're suggesting we should maybe look a bit deeper.
Beyond just preservation.
Exactly. Could these coffins be, shielding something, maybe from weird signals in our simulated reality, or even keeping something, I don't know, connected?
That's where it gets really interesting. Moving beyond the physical into, data, energy, system management, maybe.
Yeah. So our simulated journey today, we're going to delve into what we're calling the ultimate conspiracy patch notes of the dead.
I like that. Patch notes of the dead.
Exploring potential links between lead burials and, you guessed it, simulation theory.
Okay, let's do it. Where should we start? Westminster Abbey seems like a good place.
Perfect. Okay, Westminster Abbey. Final resting place for what? Over 3,300 notable people.
Something like that, yeah. And a lot of them are in lead coffins. We're talking Elizabeth I, Charles II.
And Queen Elizabeth II, more recently. That was confirmed, right? Lead-lined?
Yep. So the airtight seal, sure, it helps preservation, creates that barrier against moisture, air.
But the level of sealing, the sheer effort involved in these royal ones, it feels kind of extreme, doesn't it? Is it just about slowing down decay?
That's the question, isn't it? The resources, the craftsmanship, it suggests maybe a bigger purpose than just, delaying the inevitable decomposition.
So, thinking within simulation theory, could these royals, maybe they're like core file NPCs, really important figures in the code?
Okay, go on.
And the lead coffin is acting like a Faraday cage.
A Faraday cage. To block out interference.
Yeah, to block external data noise.
Yeah.
Maybe keep their consciousness synced up with the main server, whatever that is. Protect the integrity of the file.
It's like information security almost, protecting sensitive data from electromagnetic interference. If consciousness or a soul code is information...
Then lead could be the perfect shield within the sim.
Right. The idea being these important figures are maybe put in cold storage.
Exactly. Waiting for a future reboot within the simulation, securely archived, ready to be deployed again if needed.
It implies a pretty sophisticated level of system management, doesn't it? Preserving key players.
Okay, now let's rewind. Way back.
Yeah.
Ancient Egypt. They were obsessed with the afterlife. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Immortality was the name of the game. Mummification itself is you could call it a form of physical data backup, preserving the hardware.
But they didn't stop there, did they? You see those nested sarcophagi, layers on layers?
And the burial chambers themselves, often lined with gold and, crucially, lead.
Gold and lead. Interesting combo. Gold for the divine, the incorruptible maybe, and lead for shielding.
It suggests a very deliberate, multi-layered approach to protecting whatever was inside.
And then there's the Book of the Dead. If we look at it through this lens, is it like a software manual?
A user guide for navigating the afterlife simulation. Follow these steps for successful level completion.
Kind of. So why the lead in the tombs specifically? Could they be like Ethernet ports connecting to an afterlife server?
And the lead shields the signal, protects it from spiritual interference or, data corruption.
Makes sense. And the curses, you always hear about the tomb curses.
Maybe they're not just curses. Maybe they're coded security measures, like unauthorized access prohibited. Keep out the hackers.
Whoa, so the theory goes Pharaohs might have been like the OG avatars, original gangster avatars.
With admin privileges.
Yeah. And their lead tombs were basically secure server racks, keeping their code safe for whatever came next.
It suggests certain individuals had, higher privileges, needing special infrastructure even after death.
Okay, let's jump forward again. The Vatican. Popes. We see lead again here, don't we?
We do indeed. Since the Renaissance, it's been traditional for high-ranking popes to get the triple coffin treatment.
Triple.
Yeah, an inner one of cypress wood, then a lead coffin sealed around that, and then an outer one of oak or sometimes marble, very layered.
And the official Vatican line is,
That the lead coffin seals the Pope's body and maybe their spiritual essence for eternity. It's about sanctity and permanence.
from a material standpoint, yeah, lead lasts. It seals really well.
Exactly. Impermeable, resists corrosion, makes sense physically.
Simulation theory time. Could that lead also be like linking the Pope's consciousness
Linking it where?
to a specific, maybe separate part of the simulation? An ecclesiastical simulation fork, like a private server, just for the church.
Interesting. So different spheres of influence, politics, religion might have their own sub-simulations, all connected.
Could be. The idea is the Pope isn't just buried, he's maybe uploaded
Uploaded where?
to an offline simulation server, maybe physically located within Vatican City, allows for, I don't know, code tweaking and isolation. Or maybe they consult the archived popes.
Like accessing a secure database of past leaders for guidance, maintaining the religious parameters of the simulation.
Something like that. So Egypt, England, Vatican, different times, different cultures, same material showing up in these really significant burials.
It's a pattern that's hard to ignore once you start looking.
Which brings us to a pretty wild thought. What if these lead coffins aren't really about burial at all? What if they're bootloaders?
Bootloaders, wow, okay, explain that.
Instead of ending life, they're designed to store it, to preserve the essential data, the core code, for some future purpose.
Right, so shifting from end of life to potential continuation or controlled transition.
And lead's known ability to shield electromagnetic waves suddenly becomes really important, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If you want to protect sensitive data from outside interference, cosmic radiation, maybe unwanted sim reboots, lead's a good bet.
So these coffins could be actively safeguarding the data integrity of the soul code, keeping it safe from corruption or deletion.
It implies that this soul code is incredibly valuable within the system, worth preserving at great cost.
Maybe these elite figures, pharaohs, monarchs, popes, maybe they had access to like spiritual dev tools.
Step tool.
Yeah, granting them checkpoints instead of a final game over, a way to avoid permanent deletion.
Like saving your progress in a game. Interesting.
And maybe preserving the physical body is key to anchor that digital soul, to stop the code just uninstalling itself.
A physical anchor for the digital consciousness.
And the lead lining ensures that anchor point, that connection, stays stable and secure, just waiting for the revival protocol to be initiated.
The lead box becomes this secure interface, shielding that crucial link.
So, stepping back, how does this whole lead coffins as bootloaders idea fit into the bigger picture of simulation theory? What's the meta view?
Well, in sim theory, what we call death for most people might just be offloading.
Like freeing up resources.
Could be memory wipes, character reassignments, maybe system patches, NPCs getting reset or repurposed.
But the really important figures, the high-level players or critical NPCs, they might get persistent files.
Exactly. Their core data is too valuable to just delete. It gets archived, stored securely for potential future use. They're not deleted, they're saved.
So in that context, the lead coffins could be the physical access points to these persistent files.
Right. And the elaborate rituals around the burials, maybe those are the encryption protocols. You need the right keys, the right steps to access or store the data correctly.
And the locations themselves, the pyramids, the abbeys, the cathedrals, maybe they're the hidden server nodes, where the data is actually housed.
You bring together the container, lead coffin, the process rituals, and the location, sacred sites. It really starts to look like a deliberate system for managing these high-value consciousness profiles.
So while you or I might just, respawn as someone new,
Or get deleted.
figures like Queen Elizabeth II, maybe they get recompiled, brought back for future reboots of the simulation when needed, a familiar, powerful piece of code returning.
It speaks to recurring archetypes, maybe, key roles that need filling, and they have the saved files ready to go.
Okay, this leads us nicely into what we're calling advanced NPC energy theory. Time to go even deeper.
Right, let's push it. What's next?
What if lead isn't just passive shielding? What if it's actually a quantum-dense codec?
A codec, like for data compression.
Sort of, but maybe more about locking the digital consciousness into a super stable encrypted format. It's like the soul's USB safe eject button, securely removing and storing the essential data.
That implies lead has some pretty exotic quantum properties we don't fully understand yet, facilitating complex data storage and protection.
And maybe the soul itself is layered data. Think. Body is hardware, Mind is RAM, temporary working memory.
And the soul.
That's the persistent data file, the core code. And for the elites, that soul data gets meticulously archived in lead, the ultimate secure backup.
A layered model for consciousness within the sim. Makes a strange kind of sense. Hardware, software, persistent storage.
And lead's known physical properties, resistance to decay, radiation, maybe even quantum degradation make it perfect, right?
Yeah.
As a signal scrubber, a dead zone encryption chamber.
Basically, it stops the consciousness data getting overwritten, corrupted, or messed with over potentially vast amounts of time, essential for long-term storage.
Think back to the Egyptians again, their belief in multiple parts of the soul, the Ka, Ba, Ak, Ren, Shut.
Yeah, a very complex view of the soul.
Could that represent like sophisticated backup rituals, different partitions of the soul data, and the tomb with its lead sarcophagus acts as a kind of BIOS lock with built-in soul DRM, digital rights management for the soul?
They might have been intuitively understanding data redundancy and security protocols thousands of years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now apply that to the Vatican again. The lead burials could be a control protocol, right? Archiving popes into the church's ghost OS.
A ghost operating system.
Right.
Okay.
And canonization, making someone a saint. Maybe that's the process of granting specific server access to their archived consciousness, allowing their wisdom or influence back into the system.
And St. Peter's Basilica itself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the root admin is located, the central control point for that whole ecclesiastical subsystem.
It frames all those traditions in a completely different technological light.
It really does.
Okay, one more big idea. The lead grid hypothesis.
Lead grid.
Yeah, what if there's a global network of these, let's call them analog soul servers, all these lead line tombs around the world working together to maintain the simulation's balance?
So connecting Egypt's Pharaoh vault,
With Westminster Abbey's royal save points.
the Vatican's God mode clerics,
Maybe even the terracotta army in China. Could they be like low-poly soul decoys or backups? All interconnected soul anchors.
a distributed network for resilience, so if the simulation crashes...
This grid allows the system to load the last known good checkpoints, potentially bringing back key individuals to restore stability.
That's a massive concept, a global lead-based backup system for reality's key players.
So after all that, the big question we have to ask you, listening right now, is, within this whole potential simulation, are you just a temporary file, destined for the recycle bin?
Or could you aim higher? Could you become a permanent save? Maybe even lead-worthy?
Yeah. What's your strategy for data persistence in the simulation?
It makes you think about your own impact, your own code differently, doesn't it?
Maybe what we call enlightenment isn't just spiritual transcendence. Maybe it's actually achieving robust data persistence, ensuring your mark on the system actually lasts.
Reinterpreting enlightenment as achieving a kind of digital immortality within the simulation structure.
So yeah, the next time you hear about some ancient king or queen being dug up in a lead-lined coffin,
Don't just think about preservation.
ask yourself, who just got uploaded?
It definitely puts a different spin on archaeology and history.
You've been tuning into NPC Energy, where maybe the afterlife is just another loading screen.
A fascinating, if slightly unsettling, thought to end on.
Absolutely. Hey, smash that subscribe button if you're digging this, leave us a review, and maybe have a ponder. Are you living out a standard legacy PC life right now?
Or are you maybe on the path to becoming something more? A glitch-proof, encrypted, high-value soul file?
Stay weird out there. Stay glitchy. And maybe start looking into the long-term archival properties of lead, just in case.
You never know, right? Intriguing stuff.